Hello there, welcome to the Weird Record Club. In today's episode we're going to examine the top 3 Yank Psych Comps. That's right, the best, in my opinion, compilations of mostly obscure American psychedelia. Now, you'll all be aware of these compilations like Nuggets and Pebbles and all the others that you see. And there are hundreds of these compilations out now, and it's quite hard to pick your way through them. So I'm going to talk about some of my favourites, my top 3, but we'll also quickly look at a couple that were bubbling under, but are of importance for at least historical reasons. Let's start with the daddy of them all, and that is Nuggets. So released in the early 70s, Nuggets contained, it says here, original artifacts from the first psychedelic era. Now, look at that for a psychedelic cover. Let's have a look. The gatefold is mostly sleeve notes, and of course on the back you've got the track listing and of course Lenny Kaye, who put together this compilation. So now this is important for a number of reasons. It passed on some of these obscure songs, although some of them were hits as well, to a new generation. Probably it opens with I Had Too Much to Dream Last Night by the Electric Prunes, which is from 1966, a psychedelic classic, and that is a great opener. And it includes a number of other really classic songs that are quite well known. Dirty Water by the Standells is one of them. Psychotic Reaction by the Count 5 and a lot of others. Now, the reason why this didn't make my top 3 is because although it's full of classics, I wonder if this might be one compilation that would be better as a single album, allowing it to be more focused, because it veers from garage rock to psychedelia to mediocre Beatles clones to mediocre Dylan clones, as well as Baroque pop. So I think this is one album that would be better as a single album, and its sort of variety of style makes it a little bit unfocused for me. So I think there's a little bit of this album being rather overrated as a psychedelic compilation, but it's of historical importance. It's got a great cover and it's got loads of great tracks on it. So Nuggets Volume 1. Bubbling Under. Also bubbling under is Pebbles Volume 1. So Pebbles, now Nuggets contained a lot of songs like I Had Too Much to Dream Last Night that were hits, that were well known. The Pebbles series concentrated on much obscure bands who had no hits or maybe had a regional hit, so you get much more obscure songs, and there's something much more underground and bootleggy about the Pebbles series. There's also something that's quite amateurish about them. There's always errors in the track listing, and there's songs on the track listing that aren't on the record, and things are in the wrong order and all that kind of thing. So there is something amateurish and bootleggy about them. So Volume 1 set the scene. You can see how it sort of looks very bootleggy. I'll show you the record because we all like a little bit of vinyl porn, don't we? So it comes as a white label on clear vinyl. Very, very nice. Now, Pebbles again focuses a lot on garage rock, especially in this Volume 1. But you do get some really killer songs. I mean, Action Woman by The Litter is a classic, very sort of Stones-like, I think. But on this record, which is all taken not from the master tapes, but from vinyl singles, so sometimes the sound quality isn't that good. And on the first track, Action Woman, there's actually a jump on the original single that they took the recording from, and so there's a jump on this one. There's a little note saying your record isn't scratched, the jump's been there. So the jump, was on the original that they got the recording from. So lots of great songs on here. It's very small. I'm going to have to peer with one eye, and I think one of my favorites is the Psychotic Reaction is on here, a different version to the one that's on Nuggets, I think, a different band. Now, Spaz by the Elastic Band is a hilarious non-PC cover that's one of my favourites. It sort of goes, "Get off the floor, boy! People are gonna think. People are gonna think. People are gonna think you're a spaz." And then, so something you couldn't say nowadays. But "Spaz" by the Elastic Band is one of my favourites on here, along with "Action Woman" and several other classics. Make it worth picking up. But again, is it one of the best? Well, it's focused more on garage rock, so there is quite a bit of what you might call frat rock, mediocre frat rock, dance, franny dance, and that doesn't really push it into the stratosphere in terms of psychedelic compilations. So let's move on to what I think are my top 3 favourite psych comps, Yank Psych Comps, yes, let's say. All right, well, I'm going to start at number 3 with this beauty. Beyond the Calico Wall. Just look at that for an amazing cover. You can spend hours getting lost in that. There's the back. I'll show you the record for a bit more vinyl porn because this one is on a very lovely blue. So there we have Beyond the Calico Wall. Now again, like Pebbles, this focuses on really obscure, not even one-hit wonders. It's more no wonders for this one. Lots of crazy sound effects, lots of really experimental stuff, lots of very amateurish stuff that makes it really engaging and fun. Now, the standout tracks, I think, for me would be the version of "I Had Too Much to Dream Last Night" by Rasputin and the Mad Monks. Unfortunately, this one doesn't have the sleeve notes with it. But Mount Olympus by the Flower Power was another great one. Alva Snelling, "The Clock on the Wall That Counts Down to His Doom" is another fantastic one. Really good, really exciting, really strange. It's the outer reaches of psychedelia. It's as extreme as you can get. It's not commercial, but it is great fun. So there we have it, number 3, Beyond the Calico Wall. Number 2, well, we're going to make a return to the Pebbles series, but I'm not going to talk about Pebbles 1 or Pebbles 2. We're going to go for Pebbles Volume 3. So Pebbles 1 and 2, they were focusing more on garage punk, and Pebbles 4, which is the surf one, focuses on obscure surf one. But the one that focuses on psychedelia is Volume 3. So this is the one to pick up if you are into psych. And the reason why I like this so much is, as well as the obscure psych, you get some comedy and novelty psych. You get, because psychedelia was always able to laugh at itself, and that's certainly the case here. So now the standout tracks, I would say for me, are Flight Reaction by the Calico Wall. I think this was a bunch of studio musicians, but it describes what sounds like a bad trip on an aeroplane, but it really is bonkers with crazy sound effects all the way through, and God only knows what's happening, but it's a brilliant song. 5 Years Ahead of My Time by the Third Bardot, some blistering fuzz-based psychedelia there. Now, a couple of novelty things like the Monocle's version of The Spider and the Fly, which was a cover version of I think from a 1950s hit that has "The spider coming closer," and you hear the fly going, "Help me, help me!" So that's really fun. Now, I said there was some novelty songs here. There's Like a Dribbling Fran by Race Marbles, whatever that was, which is a hilarious pastiche of Bob Dylan, Like a Rolling Stone. So that's one of my favourites. I also think, now you've heard of the Jefferson Airplane and you've heard of Jefferson Starship. What about the Jefferson Handkerchief? They have a song on here called I'm Allergic to Flowers, about a hippie who wants to get near to his to the woman of his dreams, who happens to be a flower child, but he suffers from hay fever, so full of sneezing and things. That's hilarious. Another great one is The Reality of Air Fried Bourse by the Driving Stupid. Now, the Driving Stupid deserve their own show. They were completely amateurish. Their songs were utterly stupid, and but hilarious, and they were called the Driving Stupid because they did a lot of driving to gigs, and their songs were really, really stupid. Unfortunately, there's supposed to be two songs by the Driving Stupid, another one called Horror Asparagus Stories, but that's missed off. So you can see Pebbles keeps up its tradition of being pretty amateurishly put together. However, this is really interesting, really fun, extreme, but really enjoyable Psychedelia. A great compilation, and if you're going to start picking up the Pebbles, this is the one to get first. This is the most psychedelic one. This is the funniest. So, what have I chosen for my favourite, the top compilation of US psychedelia? Well, I've gone with Nuggets, but not that Nuggets. I've gone with a modern iteration of Nuggets, and it's this one. It's called Hallucinations Psychedelic Pop Nuggets from the WEA Vaults. So there we have it, a nice sort of minimalist cover. The cool thing about it, though, is it's a double album. If you take out the sleeves, take out the inner sleeves, each side is a different colour, so the sleeve changes depending on which record you put in and what way around you put it in. So that's really fun. Again, let's have a little bit of vinyl poured. So this comes on lovely purple vinyl. So what do I like about this one? Well, it has quite a lot of obscure stuff, and it does have some well-known stuff, although perhaps different to the album versions. It's got a song by the Monkees, the Porpoise song, so that's fairly well known. It was from the movie's Head. This has a single version with the extended ending, so it's worth getting for that. It has it's got a song by the Electric Prunes, Antique Doll, which is great. I think it's got Hallucinations. The first song is one of my favourites. Baker Knight and the Nightmares. I've never heard of them. So this is not as extreme as the other two in my top 10. It's more pop. It's psychedelic pop psych, which is really the kind of pop music that I like. So that's the reason why I put it here. But another reason is the sound quality is good. It's really good, and this has given me a load of clues as to bands to look up. When you hear a compilation, often you hear a couple of songs by a band you've never heard, and so you check them out and find their albums. And there are a lot of whereas with Nuggets and with Pebbles, a lot of the bands were one hits, just released a single or a few singles, so there's very little else to find by them. So on here I discovered the Tokens. There's a song here called How Nice, and the Tokens, famous for The Lion Sleeps Tonight, they had a very interesting psychedelic period, which I discovered through this compilation. I looked up their album Intercourse and It's a Happening World, both which are very beautiful psychedelic elements with harmony like the Beach Boys. Also the Holy Mackerel got a song on here called Wildflower, so it led me to explore their album, which is also fantastic. Really strong songs, beautifully put together. This is my number one psychedelic compilation of American psychedelia. So what do you think? Do you agree with that? Should I have included the original Nuggets and Pebbles Volume 1, or are there other compilations of Yank Psych that should be near the top? Well, I'll leave that for you to decide. Anyway, I will see you next time.